Welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna do a little work on my engine that I've been kind of piecing together. I got a bare Type R block here. I mean, by bare, there was nothing with it except for the main caps and the girdle. So I've been piecing a lot of stuff together, and I'd just like to show you what I have.
So here's what I got. I have a B18C5 Honda Acura Integra block, about US spec, and what I ended up doing is purchasing some ARP main bolts, and as well as I got this crank out of a B20 that my brother gave me. Now the reason I went with this is because it didn't have a crank. As I mentioned, all it had was the mains and the girdle when I got this block. So what I intend to do with the reason I went with a B20, which is the exact same as an LS, is because it was available. I've done this before with another block that I have. It just makes it like an LS VTEC without having to purchase an LS block. It was a cheaper route for me, and it's because my brother hooked me up with the B20 block, so that's what I'm going to use. Now, to run this crank in a VTEC block, you need to use B20 or LS rods, and I got new pistons pressed on. So these are PR3 pistons. These came out of a B16. They're new pistons, and I ended up keeping it at 81 millimeters. Not to fool anybody, not to make anybody like, oh, he's trying to be sneaky. I'm not. This is what I had available. A lot of people have done this in the past, and they make pretty good numbers. I'm just hoping to have a reliable motor when I'm done with this, and as well as just to have fun. You know, I haven't rebuilt a motor in a while, and I just want to play around with this.
Little situation I ran into. So as I was trying to torque these down, this ended up stripping, and as well as not allowing me to torque it down.
See, I just pulled them all out. I still have the main bolts. I'm just going to go with the main bolts. This is really upsetting, as you can tell. Focus a little bit. It stripped, and as I was torquing them down, it just spun. And I am out of the block. I'm hoping that the hole isn't stripped down in there. I got the main bolts in here. Let me tell you guys something. I'm on eBay. They were, I don't think they were true ARP. I think I got some knockoffs. So whatever, the situation is done. I do on GSR blocks, B18Cs, B18C1s, C3s, C4s, C5s, C6s. Is you want to torque everything down in the torque pattern. These will be the first ones. Torque it down to 22, and then you tighten down the end caps. And then second step, you're gonna torque them down to 56, the outsides, and 59 in the insides. That's what Honda recommends, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I also will include a clip, that way you guys can verify, and when you're doing this, alright, I was a little concerned about this bolt right here. It did torque down to the 49 foot-pound. I'm going to check the clearance with the Plastigage, ensure that I'm within the specs of what. It's going to be 0.24 to 0.42. So what you want to do is find that measurement here on the Plastigage. Obviously, there you see the 0.24. You'll see some other measurements throughout. It's got to be in between these two, the 0.25 and the 0.038. This is my tolerances that I'm going to be accepting. So you want to line it up as such, right? There you go. And as you can tell, we're a little less than that. A little more than that. So we're on the tighter side on these. Not very, but I'm gonna on the little bit smaller than the 0.25. And that's the widest point. So we're looking at a little bit, but it's not as small. So the more it smushes out, the less clearances we have. Again, we're on the lower end just because they're new, and I'm not too worried about it.
Let's see this one. Oh, the last one. Yeah, we're on the tighter end, and we'll continue. We're in the tolerance and a little bit on the tighter side. I'm gonna tighten down, torque everything down. I'm gonna put assembly lube on it, so I have this blue Lucas assembly lube. One of the machinists here locally in Germany recommended this stuff, and I'm gonna put it on, ensure everything's good, torque it down. There it is, all buttoned up. Again, everything worked out as I wanted to. I'm pretty stoked. I'm not disappointed about those. I rather have found it now than my engine fell later. Hey, so I'm done. I put everything away. I'm not mad that those ARP bolts didn't work. I kind of knew when they came in just a plastic bag that they weren't real ARP. There was no Molly assembly lube. I took a chance and was hoping for the best, but obviously it didn't work out. But you know what? I'm quite happy it didn't work out, because if this would have caused engine failure later, I wouldn't have been more upset. The main bolts that I had worked. They torqued down just perfectly fine. Stock bolts are good for stock application, which I'm trying to do anyways. I'm not trying to put force induction on this. I'm not trying to go high horsepower, so I know the main bolts are just going to work fine. So with that, you know, down the road I want to change them. I'll change them out. Again, thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something on using Plastigage. I know a lot of people are afraid to build motors, but again, you know, it's been a while for me. I had to reteach myself on clearance, reassure that my eyes are still good on reading the Plastigage. Yes, they're on a little bit on the tighter side, but it's fine. I'm okay with that. This is not forced induction. This is just a regular rebuild that I'm gonna have some fun with later down the road. If I wanted to build something with higher horsepower, I think I would have sprung on some more money, better bearings, not just regular ACL. I would have gotten some ACL racing or King bearing racing. But this is just a stock rebuild. I'm gonna have some fun with it when I bring it back to the States, and if it becomes more enjoyable, I'll probably just rebuild it with some better stuff and we'll move on. Thanks for joining me. Hope you did learn some stuff. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see some more stuff that I do with this motor, please subscribe. And for that, thanks for joining, and have a good night. Peace out.